Are you ready for a slowing housing market? Watch this video and I'm going to tell you if I think that's going to happen anytime soon. Alright, what's up everybody? My name is Rob Schou and I'm with EXP Realty in Southern Maryland. If this is your first time on the channel, make sure you go down, click that subscribe button, click that little bell so you're notified every time we put out this valuable content. We talk about the housing market in general and also specific to Southern Maryland and give all types of Southern Maryland moving advice as well. Alright, and before we get started, if you have any questions, need any help about moving to Southern Maryland or about the housing market in general, make sure you use that contact information below. Go ahead and call me, text me, whatever you want, and I'd be happy to help you make those decisions when moving to Southern Maryland. And last but not least, if you want, you can scroll down to that first comment, click that link, and we'll schedule a Zoom meeting with me, and we can talk about your home buying needs or just about the housing market in general. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So like I said, what I want to talk about today is what appears to be a slowing housing market. All right, so there's been lots of talk about a housing market crash, a housing market bubble, and I'm not going to go that far to say those things are happening, but I do see evidence of a slowing housing market. So I'm going to go over the few things today, and the 6 things I'm going to talk about are: what's the current market like? Why does it appear to be slowing? Why is this happening? Who is it going to benefit? When will it start slowing even more? Where will it happen first? And how will this affect you? Let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to talk about is, what is the current market? So what are we seeing right now? Now, if you've seen previous videos of mine, I love using the Redfin website to do this. They have some great market research and publish about every week or so a really good market update. All right, so right now you're going to see on the screen the most recent article, which is May 12th. This is about a week ago now from when I'm shooting this video, but it had some really interesting information that I wanted to share with you. All right, of course, you see the headline here: the demand is falling for homes, but homes are still selling fast as buyers who remain rush to beat rapidly rising mortgage rate. I mean, talk about a crazy headline, but that really does sum it up right there. Yes, the amount of people buying homes is starting to decrease. That demand is starting to decrease, but our supply is still so tight in this market that instead of having 10 to 15 people bidding on a house, you're seeing 5 people. And that is still enough people to drive a bidding war. If you're having that many people bidding on a house, you're still going to see homes sell fast and homes sell above list price. And so while I do see it slowing, it's slowing from something that was historic, and we're not seeing it balanced yet as a market. So just some quick things that I wanted to go over. They do a really good job in Redfin of breaking down, the different stuff that shows a slowing market. One of my favorite ones you can see right here is that fewer people are searching on Google homes for sale. That's a crazy one to think, but I've definitely seen it in my Google ads and in that kind of stuff, that there's just less traffic in these kind of topics right now. And if you kind of read through all of these, just besides this one right here that I talked about with Google, all of these things here are starting to point to that slowdown. Now, it's not like this crash, it's not like this big drop. There's definitely a slowdown. Now, here's some other data that kind of goes through here. Now, like I said before, Redfin has some great charts, but this kind of sums up that data here. And just kind of pulling some stuff out, we're starting to see more and more houses have price drops. So if you look right here, on average 4% of homes for the sale week each had a price drop. That is up from before. That's a big difference. And it just shows that while the demand is still there, we may have been overpricing those houses, and we're starting to see that come back with the demand dropping and that supply kind of staying stable. And so kind of scrolling down, it talked about it a little bit here, but I think it talked about it right here, but I think this graph shows it the best. So this graph right here sums up why I think we're seeing demand fall. Now, as everyone has probably heard, or maybe you haven't, interest rates have definitely risen over the last, since January, it's May now, up to almost 5.5% from lows of around 3%. And that has a huge impact on your payment, your monthly payment on a 30-year loan. So if you look right here, you can see one of the biggest things that's happening and why demand is starting to fall off. People are getting priced out of this market. there's still a limited supply. Prices are still going, but it only can go so far before people can't afford the home prices, and we'll start seeing that level off. We'll start seeing that balance market. So you can see just how big of a jump historically this mortgage price has been. So that kind of all supports my ideas of what's happening in this market right now. This market is going towards a slowdown and a balance. I don't think it will be a bubble. I don't think it will, be a crash, because there's still so much demand and so few supply that I don't see it being a crash. We don't have a glut of houses out there that are just going to sit and not sell. But I do see a slowdown. I do see a balancing of this market coming, because I just can't see everybody being able to absorb this cost that we're starting to see now. Now, who can benefit from the slowdown? For now, the sellers are still benefiting. Like I said at the beginning, you're still getting multiple offers, whether it's 10 to 15 offers or 5 to 10 offers or 3 to 5 offers. The sellers are still in that control seat where they're really getting to pick the best offer out of all of them. But if you're someone that can be comfortable with rising mortgage rates and that kind of stuff, you might start seeing the tables be more balanced in the future here. It's not really gonna, I don't think it's gonna be in the buyer's court anytime soon, but I could definitely see it more balanced with rising interest rates. All right, so the next question I was talking about was, when is it going to start? Well, it's the slowdown starting now, but as long as inflation keeps staying the way it is, this slowdown is going to continue. And that's not really, a guess. That's kind of fact, just because the Fed has stated that as long as interest stays high, they're going to keep raising rates. And the bond market and the mortgage market is going to keep reacting to that. And the interest rate is going to either stay about this 5.5%, or it's going to continue to climb incrementally as this year goes on. Now, could it go lower? It could. But I think what's most likely going to happen is we're going to see these rates stay at 5.5%. It may climb up to 6%. But with inflation the way it is right now, I just can't say that I see the rates dropping, since everything is tied to inflation and the way that the Fed deals with inflation and mortgage rates. So it's tough to nail down a date when we're really going to see this slowdown, or if we're really going to see the slowdown. But we're definitely in the middle of it, and I definitely think it's going to continue throughout this summer. Now, this is an interesting one, and a lot of people say, well, I don't see a slowdown in my area. I'm still 10 to 15 houses, competing with 10 to 15 different offers on a house. And I want to remind you that real estate is hyper local. So what's happening in my market, what's happening in your market could be completely different. But one thing a lot of people agree, the markets that saw the most appreciation are going to be the markets that feel this slowdown first, because their growth in some ways is unsustainable. So looking at this graph right here, this is from Moody's analytics, and it's a really cool graph, and it shows which places are overvalued. So which cities are overvalued, have seen that most growth, and these are the ones that experts are predicting that we'll start seeing that slow down first. So kind of going through here, like Boise, Idaho, not shocking to me. A lot of people from the California area were moving out there because of their cheap home prices, and just kind of all these areas that you probably have heard about in the news lately as being hot spots for people to move to. Washington, of course, just all these different areas that, Asheville, North Carolina, that maybe you've heard of in the news. Austin, Texas is another one that's been really kind of crazy popular for people to move into. And we're just seeing those property prices being a little bit overvalued, and I think that's going to lead to that slowdown first, because they're pricing out a lot of people in that market because it has appreciated so much. All right, so last but not least, of course, how is this going to affect you? I think we've kind of talked about that a lot. For a buyer, obviously, there's going to be less competition, but that doesn't mean there's going to be no competition. So less competition is nice, because your offer, your best and highest offer, is not going to be going against a lot of other offers, and maybe you're going to get picked. So I feel like there's going to be less heartache for buyers in a way, because they got a better chance now. It's not like winning the lottery out of 60 offers. It's going to be maybe 3 to 5, and you got a chance to really put your best foot forward and really show that seller that you are the best person for that deal. Now, that being said, you're still going to be paying a premium. I still see paying over list price right now because of the multiple offers that will be on the table. I don't think in a lot of situations, especially in my market, that houses that people are going to be buying houses at list price. I think people are still going to be going over because of that multiple offer situation that we're likely to have on homes. Now, if you're a seller, I would say that it doesn't change much, except I would definitely encourage sellers to keep pushing your realtor to put your house price right on point. Now, I want you to make sure that you understand that there has been price drops, and that's because a lot of realtors have said, well, I know how this price market's going to go up, and I'm going to price it above the market a little bit and catch that rising wave. And that's not good practice. Really look at that CMA, or really look at those comps and really figure out exactly where you want to be, and don't get too greedy is the wrong word, but don't get too confident that it's going to keep going, and just pick that right sweet spot there. And with those multiple offer situations, you probably will get more than you expected, and definitely on average about 2% more than list price. All right. So hopefully that helps you understand the housing market that's going on right now. And like I said before, if you have any questions or need any help, make sure you use that contact information below. Call me, text me, and I'd be happy to help you. And also, if you want, you can scroll down to the first comment, click on the link, and schedule a Zoom meeting with me one-on-one to talk about the housing market or move to Southern Maryland. And last but not least, if you haven't yet, make sure you click the subscribe button, click the little bell so you're notified every single time we put out new content. See you on the next video.